Hey guys, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a piece of text, and I'm going to show you how you can overlay this piece of text on top of an image. So the output result that we're going to have is going to look like this. This is an image that I've taken a few months ago, and here what we've done is we created something called a ColorClip, and then we created something called a TextClip, and we combined them and we overlaid the whole thing on top of an image and we made it kind of centered. So I'm going to show you how you can do that in MoviePy. Alright, so we do have a Python project open, and this is connected to a virtual environment that has MoviePy installed on it. I'm going to say from moviepy.editor import everything. And what we want to do now is we want to create a simple text clip object that kind of displays some text with a very simple background. So let's start by creating an object. So I'm going to say text clip equals to text clip, and I want to give it some text, and that would be maybe Python is awesome. And I do want to give it a font size. Maybe we give it 40. I want to give it a color, and then there's a background color which we don't have to specify. But if you don't specify, it'll be transparent by default. So I'm going to specify maybe white for the background color. And that's the object. That's a text clip object. And I can save it as an image by doing the following. TextClip.save frame. I'm going to say out.png. Now if I hit play, it'll take a second. Well, it finished. You can see that there is this file that was created. I'm going to double click on it, and you can see here it says Python is awesome. Alright, so let us change the font of this text clip. So let's go back to main.py. We can do that by specifying a font by doing font equals to, and I'm going to use a font that I downloaded and installed called Lane. So I recorded a video earlier that shows you how you can download, install, and add a custom font to ImageMagick, which is a piece of software that MoviePy uses to create those text clips. So let me try to hit play and see what will happen. Let me double click on it, and you can see here that the font looks much better. Alright, so if you look here, you will see that the width of this image is 340 and the height is 50. Now let's say that you would like your text clip to extend a particular width. And this is actually a common use case. Let's say, for example, you want to overlay a piece of text on an image or on a video. You would like that piece of text to be maybe 800 pixels wide. And for you to be able to do that, instead of trying different kind of font sizes until you kind of end up with something that matches what you want, what you can do instead is you can comment this line. So instead of specifying a font size, we want to actually specify a size for this text clip, and size takes two values. That would be the width and the height. And let's say we'd like the width to be 800, so we can say 800 here. And if you specify 0 here, that means that the height will be as big as it needs to be for the piece of text that you want to display to extend 800 pixels. So the idea here is we're going to take this text, we're going to display it in an 800 pixel wide kind of segment, and the height of that segment will depend on the font and the size of the font, again depending on this width. So let me play that, and it'll hopefully make more sense when you see the output. So I'm going to hit play here, and let me double click here. So the first thing that you observe here is that we have 800 here, which means that the width of this image is 800 pixels, and the height again was dynamically determined, and it happens to be 113. So again, the height depended on the width and the font. So we can specify just one of them, and the other one will be just dynamically or automatically determined. And typically you want to specify the width. So typically you want to set the width to be some number of pixels, and you don't care too much about the height. That's kind of a typical use case. So let me close this one. Now, of course, you can do the opposite. You can say I want the width to be 0 and the height to be maybe 300. And if you hit play, you will see that the output image has height 300 and the width was dynamically or automatically determined, again, based on the font and the text itself. So when you set the height to be some value like 300, the width is gonna be determined automatically. And this is typically what people do. So you don't want to specify a value for the width and the value for the height. You can just set one of them, and the other one you can give it the value 0, and this width in this case will be determined again automatically. So the font looks good here. I like Lane. Now the thing that I don't like about this is there's no padding between the text and the border of the image. So let's try to fix that. Let's go back to the code, and here I'm setting the width to be 800, and again the height is going to change and dynamically be determined. So let me tell you first what we're going to do before we write code for it. The idea here is we'd like to create another clip, and this is called a ColorClip, that is a little bit bigger than what you're seeing here. So I want to get the width, which I know is 800. I want to get the height after I create this text clip. Then I want to use those two values to create another clip called ColorClip that is a little bit bigger than 800 and 113. And then I'd like to take this text clip and essentially overlay it on top of that ColorClip, and I want to make sure that it's centered. That way, the combination of the two clips will seem as if it's an image, a single image that has padding, around the text. So let's go back to the code here. I'm gonna say ColorClip equals to ColorClip like this, and this ColorClip is gonna take few things. The only two things that I want to give it is size and color. So the size is going to be kind of two values. It'll be a tuple, and it'll be the width and the height. So again, I'd like the width of this ColorClip to be a little bit bigger than the current width, which I know to be 800. So in this case, I can actually hard code it, and I can say, for example, 900. Now, in terms of height, I can look at this number 113 and I can, add to that, but that would be kind of a bad way of doing it, because if I change the text here, let's say Python is really awesome, for example, you will notice that when you hit play, well, that's not going to work because I have this code. Let me comment it. Let me hit play. You will see that right now the height actually changed to 85 because again, the height will automatically be determined. So taking this value and hard coding it would be kind of a bad idea. The 900 is not a great idea, but it's not terrible because, we're going to keep this 800. But looking at this height and using it, that would be a really bad idea. So instead of doing this, I want to actually get the size of the text clip after I create it. So here I can say text clip width, comma, text clip height. And that's going to be equal to, I'm going to say TextClip.size. So TextClip.size is going to return actually a tuple that looks kind of like this, width, height, and the first value width is going to be assigned to the first value here, and the height is going to be assigned to this one. So we know that the width is going to be 800. We don't know what the height is. That will be determined kind of dynamically. So we're going to end up with 800 here, and whatever the height is will be kind of assigned to this variable. And I can use this one plus some padding to create the color clip. So let me uncomment this one. And let me change this 900. Let me make it TC width, which again is going to be 800 plus maybe 100 of padding. And when we have 100 here, that means 50 to the left and 50 to the right. Again, because we'd like to center this one in the middle of the bigger kind of color clip. So we're going to end up with 50 to the left and 50 to the right. And for the height, I'm going to say TC height, and I'm going to add 50. Now you notice here that I added kind of less here, And that's because I think that it looks better if we have more padding to the left and to the right than up and down, or at the top and at the bottom. This is something that you typically see in web design. Usually buttons actually have more padding to the left and to the right than at the top and at the bottom. So that's why we have kind of more here. So because we have 50 here, we're going to have 25, distance between the text and the new border of the color clip. So from here to the new border, and from here to the new border, we're going to have also 25. We can test it. If we don't like it, we can change those values, but let's kind of keep them that way. And in addition to size, you want to give it a color, and the color is going to be actually an RGB tuple. So let's say 100, so a little bit of red, 0 green, 0 blue. Now, if you want to see how that looks like before we kind of merge it with this text clip, we can actually save it as an image. So let me say ColorClip dot save frame. Let me say ColorClip dot png, and let me hit play and see how that looks like. Okay, it's working fine. Let's see, where's my new file? Here it is. Let me double click. Okay, so you can see here's my color clip, and if you look at the size 900, which is really what we want it to be, because this one's 800, and the height is 135, which is 50 plus 85. And if we change the text, let's get rid of really, for example, and if we hit play, the color clip will change its height. So right now, because the height of the text is 113, the height of this color clip is going to be 50 plus 113, which is 163. So we have this color clip, and what we need to do is we need to take this text and again overlay it on top of this and make sure that it's centered. To do that, we want to get rid of this background, or we can keep it for now, and you will see that we're gonna actually have to get rid of it, because if we keep it, then we're gonna see white and we're gonna see red, and we don't want that. We can just make this background transparent, and we can just use this color, and we can change this color, of course, anytime, to be used as the background of this kind of clip. So let me show you how you can combine this with that. All right, so I'm gonna combine the two clips, the text clip and the color clip, using something called CompositeVideoClip. So let me show you how we can do that. I'm gonna say final clip equals to CompositeVideoClip, and this CompositeVideoClip is gonna take a list of clips, and the order matters here. So the first clip that we're gonna give it is gonna be the color clip. So I'm gonna just copy this, paste it here, and on top of the color clip, I'd like to overlay the text clip. So the reason why you want to have the text clip after the color clip is because you want to overlay the text clip on top of the color clip. Again, here order matters. And what I want to do is I want to save it as an image. Now, as you will see in a second, it's not going to be perfect, and we'll probably need to fix few things, but let me just show you what the output is if we just do it that way. I'm going to hit play, and there is a new file that's created. We're going to double click on it. As we can see, the text clip has been overlaid on top of the color clip. But one thing that we want to do is we want to center it. So to do that, we want to go to here to this text clip, and we want to create a new object. So we're going to say text clip. So the new text clip is going to be equal to the old text clip, however, with a new position. So I want to set the position to be at the center. Now, this kind of setting of the position to be at the center will only make sense if we kind of overlay or merge this clip with another clip, because the center is going to be with respect to kind of another bigger clip. So I hope kind of that makes sense. If we try to save TextClip like what we're doing here, this set position is not going to really affect out.png. But again, when we're trying to combine two clips, this set position will be used. So the position that we kind of defined here will be used to determine where the position of this with respect to this kind of bigger clip. So let me hit play and show you that final right now looks much better. So now, as you can see, the text clip is kind of centered within the bigger color clip. So let's kind of fix a few other things. Let's remove the background of this text clip. So I can go here and I can get rid of this background color for the text clip. Let me do that. And let me hit play. See how it looks like now, much better. And I'd like to change the font color from black to white because the contrast here is not that good, because this is kind of a rather dark red. So let me change this color to white, and that'll change the color of the font. Let me hit play and let's see how final looks like. Okay, it looks much better. So right now it actually looks great in my opinion. The font looks good, the padding looks good. What I'd like to do next is I'd like to take this clip, this combined clip, and I'd like to overlay it on top of an image, a bigger kind of image, maybe a picture that I've taken before. And then what we should do is maybe we should make this background transparent so that it even looks better on top of the image. We don't want to hide this entire portion from the image, and if we set this to be transparent, we will, see part of that kind of the image that is behind, this portion. All right, so I added an image here, and this is the image that I'd like to use. This is a drone image, and it was actually bigger than this, but I made it a little bit smaller. And I'd like to, again, overlay the text and place it in the center of this image. So let us do that. So we do have this kind of clip, which again contains both the text clip and the color clip. And what I want to do first is I'd like to open this image, and I can do that using something called ImageClip. So I can say maybe mclip equals to ImageClip, and all I need to do is provide it with the file name, so dji.jpg. Okay. And what I can do simply is I can take this final clip and I can kind of overlay it on top of MClip using CompositeVideoClip. So I can use the same kind of class here. So let's do that, and then again we'll probably have to make few changes, corrections to what we have. So I'm gonna say my final output equals to CompositeVideoClip, and that's gonna take the MClip. That'll be kind of the thing that I want to overlay on top of, and then I want to take my final clip, and then I can save final output to a file. So I can say save frame, and I can say final output dot png, for example. And if I right click here and if I hit run, we will see that we have a new file here. Let me double click on it. Okay, so that actually doesn't look bad. Again, we do have kind of few problems. This has to be centered, which is easy to fix. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to make this transparent so that we can see, part of the background. Kind of, I don't want to hide the entire section here. I'd like to see kind of what's behind. So let's go back to the code here. Now we know how to center, again, this with respect to this image. What I can do is I can take this final clip and I can change the position of it to center before I run this command. So here I'm going to say my final clip is equal to, so this is going to be really a new instance. So I'm going to say use the old final clip and change the position of it to center, and the new object, this will actually create a new object, that is identical to this one, except that it has a center position, and I'm going to assign it to the same name. So it's almost as if I'm kind of overriding the old final clip with the new final clip, which is again identical except for the position. And if I hit play here, and if I open, it'll take a second because the file is still actually big. If I open this one, you will see that right now it looks pretty good, right? It looks centered, and it looks good. We can keep it that way, but I do want to show you how you can make it transparent. Now, one way to do that would be to make the entire final clip, which is both the text clip and the color clip, both of them transparent, but that's not a good idea. And let me show you why that is. So let's go here, and the idea is I'd like to make this kind of transparent. So I can say final clip is equal to final clip.set opacity, and I'd like to set opacity to 0.4. So that way it'll be 0.6 or 60% transparent. So opacity is essentially the opposite of transparency. If the opacity is high, that means the transparency is low. If the opacity is low, for example, maybe 0.1, that means the transparency is going to be very high. So let's just say 0.4. And let me hit play. And let me show you how the output is going to look like. Okay, so that does not look better. And the reason why it doesn't look better is because the text right now is kind of transparent, because we made everything transparent and the text is hard to read right now. So the better idea would have been to make the color clip transparent and keep the text clip kind of non-transparent. And we can do that by, instead of setting the opacity of the final clip to some value, let me get rid of this, we can set the opacity of the color clip. And again, that way we're actually making the background transparent, or somewhat transparent. So I'm going to say the new color clip is going to be the old color clip dot set opacity to be 0.4. And when I create the final clip, which contains both the color clip and the text clip, the only transparent part in the final clip is going to be the background, which is the color clip. So let me hit play. And I wish I changed the name of the file to just show you what the difference is, but hopefully you'll be able to easily notice the difference. Let me open this one. Okay, so do you guys see the difference here? It's pretty obvious. Right now the text is not transparent and it's much easier to read, and the background is transparent. So that way it's much better. Now, I would say that we should probably make it less transparent so that it's even easier to read. And we can do that by, of course, maybe using 0.6 opacity, then that means 40% transparency. And let me see the final file when it's finished. All right, so I think it looks much better now. You can see kind of what's behind this clip, but also we can read the text very clearly. One thing that I did that maybe I didn't show you is that I actually made the text uppercase. So I added this upper method, and that makes this entire text kind of uppercase. So it'll essentially replace this section with the uppercase version of this text. And I thought it looks kind of better that way. Alright guys, so that's the end of this video. I hope you liked it. I will see you in another video soon.